Wow, it's already been a month of the Bundy Mixer competition, and aren't all the big names stepping up? Kelly, Hale, Boyle, Tafau have been on absolute fire in the women's game, and the likes of Cleary, Haas, and SJ are absolutely killing it in the NRL. A reminder that round 5 of the Bundy Mixer kicks off this Thursday, a fantasy competition that allows you to not only get the best pick of the blokes, but to be able to pick the absolute superstars in the NRLW game, and allow you to create a mixed-gender fantasy team that puts up huge scores every week. Make sure you watch out for our pick of the week, which we'll release on Wednesday morning on Instagram. And most importantly, make sure you sign up using the link in the description for your chance to win weekly prizes. Good luck, everyone.
Welcome back to the All Out NRL Fantasy Podcast. Round 25 is upon us. Welcome back, Flats and Mick. We've also got Eddie for the first time on the All Out NRL Fantasy Podcast.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Hey, Eddie.
It's about time you put me in here, but that's all right.
Yeah, it's well, welcome, mate. We were supposed to have your roommate Mackenzie on, but
Yeah,
he's celeb pretty much.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. He's not valuable.
Yeah, correct.
We are all Australia all witnessed on Saturday night the Matildas and what a win it was. Would it go down in the top 5 Australian moments, sporting moments ever?
Top 3, mate.
Top 3?
Top 2.
No way.
What?
Two.
Top 5.
What's one,
generous.
mate?
Top 5's generous.
What's one? Kathy Freeman?
No.
Kathy Freeman?
There's got to be...
Stephen Bradbury.
No.
Bradbury.
Actually,
He's
I
the,
put that
he's
top
the
three.
luckiest rich guy ever.
Top 5. Well, yeah. What is top 5?
Yeah,
Kathy
depends on,
Freeman.
are we talking best or most iconic? Because there's a difference there. That's pretty. Like Stephen Bradbury's probably the most iconic.
Yeah,
but
it's definitely
if
by
we're going the best, I mean the bloke
I
was
think,
the fucking worst bloke there.
The sailing.
The sailing.
What's that,
come off it.
What's that called? The 1973...
Kathy Freeman, I reckon, once you won.
Are we-
about
Yeah,
that?
Kathy's a hell of
Are
a
we
shout.
not sporting watchers? Because I can't think of anything. Let's have a look at
This
the
is
list.
Definitely
we are
not-
joking
nothing to
as
do with
we
the
come up
Wallabies.
something,
Yeah. All right, so let's have a look at what
Wallabies.
ESPN's top 10 greatest moments in Australian history is based off ESPN. So 10 is Clutch Eels delivers in the Bledisloe Cup.
I think Australia might be mid.
Johnny Eels.
Are we it? Yeah, are we mid? Shane Warne's Ball of the Century.
Okay. Yep.
Peter Norman stands for Against Racism.
Well,
Mate, I'm telling you, it's top 3.
So
Stephen Bradbury, they got here at 7.
okay. I don't mind that ranking.
Cadell Evans wins 2011 Tour de France.
can you just tell me what number 1 is?
Forget about Cadell.
Stop going through the list.
John Aloisi books Australia's ticket to 2006 World Cup.
Yeah.
It's a good moment, but
And number 1 was Kathy Freeman wins gold in Sydney.
I think it slots into
I
2.
feel like we're missing something here.
So what are
I
we
feel like
missing?
we are missing something here.
What are we missing?
What are our big? I mean, there's no bigger
Ed Cowan
cricketer.
debut 100. Maiden Test century.
Buck Rogers dancing on stage after the 2013-14 Ashes.
Is Australia mid at
Shane Warne
sport?
saying to who's the West Indian? F.U. Marlon.
IFU Marlin, yeah, that's got to be top 3
Don't
as well.
blush, baby.
Yeah.
I tell you what, these Tillies are up there, but the thing
think
is,
so.
they're going to slide down because it's going to get knocked over tomorrow night with the
Yeah.
famous Tillies win against France, and then it's
That's
going to
true,
get knocked over on Sunday as well when they win the World Cup. So,
Yeah.
you know, 3
If
of the
they-
top
if they win the
5
World
could
Cup,
be
it
our
slots
Tildas.
into 1.
Yeah, correct.
We did try our best to lose on Saturday. I couldn't watch it.
Boy, there was some
Yeah.
chances.
We didn't want to
gone
win,
begging.
but we won.
Yeah, well, we had 3 or 2 opportunities to win it. One hit the post, the other one was saved.
It's not about the dog in the fight, mate. It's about the fight and the dog.
No, we saved one, and but the keeper went early. Arnold, the keeper.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, maybe they are top 5 Australian sporting moments, that penalty shootout.
Yep.
Because
Yeah,
from
I
that
think you
list,
gotta put
Australia's mid at sport. We've had good moments.
We're discovering
good
something
moments.
We're
here.
unforgettable.
But, yeah, the Tillies tomorrow night. So by the time this is out, it will be Wednesday night they play. So, yeah, it'll be tomorrow night. Eddie, do you have a Matildas multi for the viewers ready to go?
Well, I don't. It's not entirely Matilda specific, but it does factor in the Matilda, so it's great time to bring it
It's
up.
cross sport.
And no surprises as to which leg is the Matildas. It's the girls to get up at $2.20. That's ludicrous, in my opinion. Absolutely ludicrous. They should be the favourites. They've got the 12th man out there, i.e., the entirety of Australia behind them. And when you're playing with an extra person, you're more likely to win. So they are leg 1. And leg 2 is actually going to be just the Newcastle Knights head-to-head against the Rabbitohs, paying
Like that,
$2.05. I think we'll move on to talking about the Knights in a little bit, but, you know, they are red hot. And the last one is actually a little bit controversial, I think, might be within this table, but it's actually the Raiders to win by 13 plus against the Dogs to bounce up off the canvas and
bounce
actually
back.
show that maybe they should be in the 8, which is controversial because a lot of people think they shouldn't be there.
What's that come to?
So that's going to be paying around about $11.
On Neds.
I think that was beautifully crafted, actually.
Is it the Tillies to win in the 90 minutes or to qualify to the next round? Because remember, if the Tillies don't win in the 90 minutes, the multi fails.
Yes, that's a great question, and I don't know the answer.
I guess we'll find out when that green tick comes up.
You let the fans decide as to which one they want to do. I'm going to go, and whether I've got that in there or not, I'm going to back them to win in the 90.
No, great work from the Tillies. They're truly on a dream run. And like I said the other week, the non-household names are really making a name for themselves now, which is great to see.
MF, Mary.
Yeah, Mary,
How
Arnold.
good's Mary?
Some
Mary
special
Arnold?
performance. No, Arnold, the keeper.
Mary Fowler
Uh,
is like one of the best strikers in the world.
Good take, Flats. Anyway, we'll move on to what? Do you want to move on to some NRL stuff, maybe?
Yeah, I guess we
Considering
should
we are an NRL
bit of NRL.
podcast.
Only a few rounds left.
Boys, last week, if you don't get 8 for 8 for Tippy, I'm not really sure what you're doing,
I was
to be
just going to
honest.
say that. You would
Yeah.
actually be doing well not to get the perfect round.
I tipped the Eels.
There you go. You did well not
Yeah,
to
you
get
did
the
well not
perfect
to get
round.
round. Yeah,
that
so-
was stupid.
Well, speaking of that game,
Only
the
off by
Broncos,
44
Didn't
points.
mate.
speaking of that game, the Broncos were red hot. Red hot.
Red hot.
And if they didn't...
Not just their footy either. That's a hot footy team.
That's
a good looking.
I wouldn't bring him
footy
to
team.
Vegas, though, especially
Who's
some
the
of their
best looking in the
players.
Broncos?
I actually reckon it's Herbie Farnworth.
Yeah.
Shout out Herbie. I did see you on Saturday night.
Respectfully, I think Herbie's one of the best looking blokes I've ever seen in my life.
Mate, running backwards, giving that kiss. Woo.
Oh,
Boy, oh boy.
Good walking, mate. But no, the Broncos
whole
were
crowd
red
blushed.
hot, and if they haven't proved themselves as a premiership favourite, I'm not sure what else they have to do because they were very good.
Well, I'll tell you something. They're not a premiership favourite. They are the premiership favourite.
According to you or according to the
take?
bookies?
According to me.
hot take alert.
Definitely not according to,
So
the,
you
to the
think,
bookies.
think Penrith second favourite now?
I don't think Penrith have a three-peat in them for some
yeah.
reason. I think they lose to 60% of the teams in the NRL on the weekend against Manly, who were just... What were Manly doing on the weekend?
Yeah,
they were playing rugby union. They should have been donning this jersey. It was ridiculous. Just don't know. Something about Penrith this year feels a little bit worse than the last couple of years for
even
some reason.
mentally, like once you come to the finals, you're like, we've won 2.
And
Slip.
Well, this is the year they're missing their hooker and their best edge back row. So.
Yeah.
Yep, I just think the Bronx would be my pick to win it from here.
Bronx are young and hungry.
Yeah. Are we seeing a dynasty form here? Broncos? I saw
No,
Billy
you just
Slater
ruined the
talking about it.
dynasty re-signing Haas. You've just sucked
Yeah.
up all your money.
Yeah, maybe the Force could get Haas, and they start a dynasty. But, the other team that had a big win, boys. I'm not sure if they're close to the Broncos and Panthers, but in recent years they've proven to be the Storm. 48-2 over the Raiders, who are now 6th on the ladder.
Raiders are... I don't know how they're in 6th place.
Well, their plus minus
plus
is like
minus is
negative
diabolical.
90 or something like that. But the Storm, where do we see them? Are they still contenders in my eyes, or are they?
They're like a top 4. They've been top 4 like in and around their last few years, but I just can never see them winning the chip. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Do you feel like they lack flair this year?
I think with Pappenhausen
They lack
back,
something.
but do we really think Pappenhausen's going to be
That's the
excellent
thing. I
straight
think-
away?
No.
There's no way.
Near impossible to ask. I mean,
Yeah.
one of my favourite players has been since he's been in the NRL, but it's near impossible to ask to come in, go straight into the finals and deliver like he can. I mean, I hope he does for their sake, but yeah, I just don't see that happening. I think I'd firmly put them in tier 2, maybe with the Rabbits.
Rabbits.
And the Warriors. And I just don't think you can move the Broncos or Penrith out of tier 1. Don't think anyone's on their tier.
Is the Warriors... Actually, no, silly question. They're not.
Oh, here we go.
They're probably,
Finish that.
They're probably B tier, pushing C tier. Well, after last weekend's performance,
They haven't
they
been
lost
great
to
the
the
last
Tigers.
2 weeks. I'll be fair. 8-point win against the Tigers.
losing at
a
a
win
stage.
against the Titans, but the Titans had a red card.
Yeah, the Titans, they didn't look great in that game at all, the Warriors.
Yeah, so look, maybe then they're
slipping.
slipping a bit in the wrong time of the year, but with SJ at the helm, I still back them to make the final.
Are
Hot take.
all those fans going to start descending back into the woodwork?
Well,
Plenty of
has
them came
SJ
out of it at
ever
the
led a
start of the
team
year.
in the finals?
He's been to 1 finals, I guess. 2011.
Actually, they did get robbed that finals, actually. It was against the Tigers.
Manly.
Was that 2012?
2011, I think they made it against Manly. DCE, yeah.
Yeah, well, like we said, like Eddie said in his multi, the Knights are firming, red hot as well. Do we see them making the 8? Flats took them for the 8 when they were paying like $4 or something. So
I think the Knights are the team to watch, and they've got a special fullback, KP.
Best fullback in the NRL.
when he's on, I think he is.
Name
Right
me
now,
one.
actually,
Name me one
it's
better.
Reece Walsh, then it's
Reece Walsh.
Ponga.
Okay, you did name me one better.
I can agree with that. Latrell on his day, but Latrell's a bit too inconsistent at the moment.
Latrell just, as of right now, I'd be taking Ponga over Latrell every day of the week.
I know a few people who actually gave KP a few pointers at school. Crafted his trade.
Do you want to shout him out?
No, they don't need a shout out. They know who they are.
I know who they are.
Are the Knights? Do you reckon they keep going through finals, or they just get bounced early on? Because if you look at their spine, Ponga, great.
I think they
Gamble, Crosland, Hastings, they've all been pretty underrated.
I reckon they're a big wild card.
I
They're
think
a
they
big
do
wild card,
because if you look at the 8 and like how it's shaped now, the top 4 is probably set in stone. So it's probably going to be Penrith, Broncos, Storm and Warriors. And then if you look at the bottom half of that 8, it's the Rabbits, Knights themselves, Raiders and Sharks. And they're all pretty iffy teams on their day. So if you get a red-hot Knights team, I reckon they could go all the way through to semi-finals, prelims maybe. But if they just keep up this form, then geez.
They're the epitome of that team that you'd sort of hate to finish first and second and then have to go up against.
Yeah,
Like it
yeah,
feels
yeah.
almost harsh that they're going to be in that 8-7 spot and you're going to have to verse them as a top seed. But
100%.
such is form.
Such is. I think we'll move on to TLT.
Move on to TLT. I'll
Yeah.
try and storm through it. I don't think there's anything very eventful.
And we'll
with
pick up
TLT.
some buys, holds, and sells on the way through.
Yeah, we probably should talk about fantasy.
Yeah.
First game is Cows Sharks. Nanai returns. That's about it for the Cows. For the Sharks, Jesse Colquhoun, I can never pronounce his last name, drops out of the 17. Next game is Waz Manly. CNK is set to return to fullback. Wade Egan is in also doubts. So Freddie Lussick will probably come in there for Manly. Brad Parker and Benny Turbo out suffering head. Benny Turbo. Those Travojevic brothers.
Injury prone.
That gene pool. That gene pool is...
Something's wrong.
Something's amiss there.
What was wrong with Mr. Turbo's swimmers?
Ben
must have
Turbo's
been-
got some dog in him, though. He's got some serious
Benny,
dog.
I think I said this last week. Benny Turbo, he's got the shape of Tommy T, but he has the athleticism of Jakey T. So he does need that dog. Joshy Schuster set to be moved into the forwards. 800k. Joshy Schuster's
Mate,
on.
he is awful.
800.
I'm sorry. He
See him
is
make that break,
shocking.
and he thought, I've got no gas. Yeah, I'm going to have to chip it.
How they've looked at him and gone, let's put him at 6, I'll never know.
I think they got to put him in the back row.
I
Actually,
agree. That's a good
I
move
do
in
feel
my
sorry
opinion.
for him. He started, he wanted to be a 6 straight away. Then he got moved into the forwards, and they told him, you got to beef up. And then they were like, actually, no.
There's
we want you to be
beefing up
6.
and then there's doing whatever he did.
Yeah, true. But he sort of, I don't think they agreed on what position they wanted each other at. So.
I see him as playing as in the lock position in a few years to come.
Yeah. I can see him
he's-
like Bryce Cartwright, just a skillful back rower.
Couldn't you see
Yeah.
his ball playing in the middle? Could be game changing.
Speaking
Yeah.
of dog, though, I just think he's not got any.
Yeah, he's lacking a dog.
I think he's like
Inside
a
him.
he's like a RSPCA the day before Christmas. No dogs whatsoever.
That's very fair.
I think he's going to be like, who's your prototypical start bad, come good player?
Mate, you can't teach
Ben
dog.
Stokes.
You can't teach dog.
Ben
If he doesn't have
Stokes.
it now, when's he going to get it?
Yeah.
Who knows, mate? Well,
Maybe when that 800k comes into his bank account, maybe he's like, maybe I need to start getting a dog in me.
no, that's more of a reason not to get dog. But
Yeah,
anyway,
that's going to be like Ben Simmons, mate. He's
Yeah.
just gonna coast on that for the rest of his life.
anyway, Mick, keep going through.
Sorry. Parramatta Roosters. Mitchy Moses missed the remainder of the season with that facial fracture. That's a tough one to see. Dayton Arce will come in. Sevo returns and Simonson returns. Jermaine Hopkins starts on the edge. I assume he'll play 80 there. Joe O moves to lock. I have no clue why they've done that. For the Roosters, Crichton is added to the bench. Big puppy Dylan Napa. He's dropped out after his return game. Not sure how he went. I'm sure he did like 3 high tackles. That's about it. Like 2 carries.
Couple of tough carries.
Tigers Dolphins next game. Tigers named the same team. For the Dolphins,
Mass changes
yes,
for the Dolphins.
Kenny, Lemuelu, Hammer, all been silent with head knocks. JMK, Raystone also out. Crike. Ewan Aiken returns. Bostock, Robert Jennings are the new centre pairing. Devare drops the reserves.
It's interesting, that one, actually. Sorry, Mick. I just thought Asako was maybe a cheeky, even a bye this week against the Tigers. But with a team that ravaged, I'm actually a little bit worried that the Dolphins are just going to put nothing up.
Yeah.
That's true. The Dolphins have had a diabolical second half of the season.
Yeah.
It was always coming, though. Their roster was not full of depth at all.
Yeah.
Like,
Once
there was
Origin
no depth.
hit and Hammer sort of... I wouldn't say... I don't know. Hammer's definitely a fullback, but Wayne Bennett seems to think he's a centre now, so... Kafusi has also been named. That's about it for that game. Titans Penrith. Tommy Weaver set to make his NRL debut at halfback in place of Tanner Boyd, who is out for the rest of the season with a shoulder injury. Kieran Foran replaced by Jaden Campbell with Keno Keeney filling at fullback.
I actually feel sorry for Fafita and Tino. Just look who's around them.
Yeah, it's not a great lineup.
Did you see their contracts, mate? It's kind of hard to feel too bad for them.
34-year-old Tino.
Yeah.
He's been retired for 5 years. He's on like $1 million a season.
He's celeb.
Yeah. That's about it. AJ Brimson could be a late inclusion as well. For Penrith, Mitch Kenny and Luai both return to the side. Tyron Peachy returns into the centre position, so that means no ball will be going to... Who's the winger? Taruva. Yeah, he's not getting any ball this week.
So Tungo's still out?
Tungo is still unavailable.
Oh.
I think it must have been a compound fracture of the leg or something.
That's an
There's
interesting
been
one.
no news on that leg injury.
Yeah, I thought
They've
he was
kept it
going to come
quite
back
quiet.
like last week, and now there's...
They don't want to rush it. He's been the best centre in the league. Easily.
Dragons Storm is the next game. Nothing really. For the Storm, Harry Grant and Katoa both named to start, but check the late mail. Not sure what crack Craig Bellamy's been smoking, putting them on the bench. Actually, it did work, to be fair.
Yeah.
I take back that. Newcastle Knights versus the Rabbits. Hastings named, best named for the Rabbits.
Full strength.
Yes, Rabbits, nothing really. Next game, Raiders, Doggies, last game. Croker coming back into the side for Ethan Strange. And for the Dogs, Preston been hit with 2-game ban. I'm sure Mackenzie Jones won't be happy with that.
Mackenzie Jones' favourite player, Jacob Preston.
1 point losses in fantasy kill.
Oh.
And that's about it for the TLT.
Uneventful as ever, Mick.
Yes, thanks.
Look, there's some big outs for particularly the mids here for fantasy. Jack DeBellin's still no-go, and with the Broncos bye, you got Payne Haas, who's also out. I think the all-out team's quite ravaged with injuries, actually,
Yes.
this week. So
I think Tino's a good buy.
some decisions going to have to be made, especially around that mid area.
Just get Tino in, 79 last week. Get AFB in, 76 last week. They're your two best options, I think.
If you're tossing up between the two, what would you go? Because I'm a little bit scared that Panthers Titans is going to be an absolute cricket score. And
That's
Tino
true.
might not get that many minutes because they'll be getting ravaged.
I'd say AFB then, yeah. I'd also say but I'm just worried about last round, maybe Penrith resting a few players.
Yeah, for sure. But in saying that, they haven't really played as a full strength team for that long as well.
Yeah, that's true.
So they might
I don't
wanna
really
just
care about getting minor premiership.
I don't think they do either, to be honest. But you raised a good point there, Mick, because the last round of fantasy, we obviously have the bye, and it's the Eels. So Mitch Moses is obviously a sell with his injury, but you also have Hopgood on most teams. I've seen a few teams with Dylan Brown. Madison.
Yeah.
So there's heaps of Eels players you've got to remember to trade last round. So remember to hold trades for those ones. But there's only 3 trades.
Good point. And Rabbits as well if you're doing a round 26 final.
Yeah.
If you got Latrell, Kwame Tungi like me for some reason. He's mid.
Gawala. But yeah, there's not really much to report on the fantasy side. You guys can sort of throw your own 2 cents in because it's basically just like getting your guns in anyway.
You should have a 17 filled with guns, and if you don't, then I'd retire early.
But yeah, that's probably the best advice we can give, because if you got someone that's not performing, you just trade them out and get a red dot in your team as well.
Yeah. You're not trying to get in like a 300 to 400k player right now. You're just trying to get 220 players and then a gun.
Now, Eddie, you're a bit of a super coach, full-time super coacher into the semi-finals of that, man.
Yeah,
have you got anyone you're looking at buying this week without giving too many hints away to who you're playing this week?
This week I've got Clancy, our least favourite person. Look, I'm tossing up between Tino. I do have those concerns, as I just mentioned before. I am going Cody Walker to Cameron Munster. So there you go, Clancy. You can have that one.
Hopefully he's listening.
Munster against the Dragons. Just can't pass that up. And Cody Walker's got the Knights, which, as I've pointed out in my multi, I'm not particularly confident in the Rabbits in that one.
Yeah.
So that's the one trade I've got locked in.
Dragons have missed the 2nd or 3rd most tackles this year, and Munster's tackle breaking ability. I think it's a great buy.
There you go. That's the least surprising
fantasy,
news. In fact, the only thing surprising about that fact is that they weren't number 1.
Yeah. I think they were last year. So.
Who was number 1?
Tigers.
I'd assume the Tigers or the Doggies.
Maybe Titans? Yeah, Doggies, actually. That's a good shout.
Now, I think we're going to wrap this pod up with a few takes. So if Mick hasn't got a hot take, I'm going to resort to Flatley's hot take if he has one. But before we go there, Eddie's wearing, obviously, the Wallabies jumper.
Am I?
We go to France in about, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Yeah.
For the World Cup. Mate, what's your prediction? Who wins? Where does Australia come? We had Flats' prediction last week that got roasted by the Kiwis. Where do they come?
Well, it's an interesting question because it's changed as of the last 24 hours. Because about 24 hours ago, I was, gun to my head, I'm saying the Frenchies get it done in their own country.
In their own backyard.
But news has come out. Intermac, I believe it's pronounced, is their starting 10, and he is gone. ACL will not be taking part in the World Cup, and that is an absolutely massive loss to the favourites, the Frenchies. And that really does shake things up. I'm just not sure. I actually don't know much about their depth in that position, but I think I'm probably leaning towards the Irish now. There is, a couple of smoky teams. Smoky teams.
Thoughts on the Wallabies picking one fly half to go over?
Don't get that whatsoever. That's, if Carter Gordon goes down, like Entamac has just done, Donaldson's out there. And also, just while we're on this, how the hell is Vunivalu getting a Wallabies job? In fact, I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. It's Eddie Jones in the Wallabies setup saying, if you're a rugby league player and you want to play rugby union, you will get a Wallabies jumper. He's close to the worst player in Super Rugby. And he's donning a Wallabies jumper. It's quite insulting.
You're saying all the right answers to what we've had other people say on the pod as well.
Yeah.
There was a game where Vunivalu made a break and he got a cramp halfway through. And he's like jogging. He was actually 20 metres in front and they caught up to him. It was a tough watch.
So you say the Wallabies, mate. Where do you see the Wallabies going? Where do you see it placing?
I genuinely... a little bit of bias here. Look at me. But I do think the benefit of the draw is really going to help the Wallabies in this one like that. Not to state the obvious too much, but...
easy pool.
I think they can... Yeah, the pool is going to... It's going to be enough games there that they can eke out some wins, as only the Wallabies do, make what should be easy games very difficult. But it might just be enough to actually give them a bit of confidence heading into the finals.
Who is it? Fiji, Wales,
Georgia.
And Wales are frankly awful. I think Fiji will beat Wales in our pool for
Fiji
sure.
The way that they do these World Cup pools, and it's the reason why we've had Wales and Fiji in recent years, is because they judge it off the IRC World Rankings, the IRB World Rankings, and now that Australia's not like a tier 1 nation, they'll all these pools will change because we've had Wales and Fiji the last 3 times, haven't we?
Yeah, I believe
think
so.
so, yeah.
Close to.
I would
Certainly
not
feels
want to
like it.
versus Fiji first game.
I think we do, don't we? Or do we versus Georgia first game?
I think we've got Georgia.
Georgia first
game
game.
to start.
Fiji could just be like they'll be good for one game of the games they play.
Yeah.
But we are very lucky with our draw
Josh
because
Tuasova.
if we top the draw,
Freak.
I think we play either England or Argentina.
Mhm.
And then if you look on the other side of the pool, you got France, New Zealand, Ireland, all will come together.
Yeah.
So the
crazy.
semi-finals, quarter-finals are going to be ridiculously good.
You just gotta get on the hot streak at the right time. That's all these World Cups are, and I think the Wallabies could do it.
Yes, I think
There's one team we haven't mentioned, the Kiwis.
Well, Flats has got a great opinion on the Kiwis.
They're, yeah. I
So,
don't-
so
I
they're
don't-
going to win, just completely change it.
Yeah, look, I see them winning the World Cup. I'm joking. They all bow out, as I said, in the quarters.
Lovely.
Not even the semis, just the quarters.
To who?
There it is.
The Irish.
I think they do meet. I think they can meet, so
Oh,
that's a valid take. Mick, do you have... I got written down here, you got a hot take as well? Or are we passing that
Yeah,
on?
I'll give a hot take. We'll move over to the NRL. If you're going off the current ladder, you've got the Wars coming in at third
Yeah.
and Broncos coming at second.
Yeah.
That means it'll be a finals matchup of Broncos versus Wars at Suncorp, if I'm not mistaken. I think the Wars win 13 plus at Suncorp and bounce the
Wow.
Broncos out. That's my hot take.
Well, they
Wouldn't be bouncing him out, though, would it, mate?
They'll bounce them out. The next week, someone will beat the Broncos.
Straight sets.
Yeah.
That's just. There's a high chance we're not even going to be versing the Wales
Is it?
if we're going to get the minor premiership.
Is that your? We just keep doing hot takes, are we? No, I think SJ at the helm. I think the Wars will be hungry.
Hungry was.
They'll be hungry.
Yeah.
So they like playing at Suncorp as well. So
Not as much
There's
as
my
the
hot
Broncos
take.
do.
I will play them at the Gabba.
the Broncos, are too young.
Okay.
Okay, nice.
Thanks.
Sure.
That'll be.
Sure.
I think that'll be 20k views on TikTok.
Very good.
Anyway,
that young gun, Adam Reynolds, really.
Wait, one more thing.
AC
All
injury.
right, Flats
This
will
week.
finish the pod on this take.
Oh, this will be good.
Over this season, it's actually not many people have been talking about him. Billy Walters. Like, just let me have my word with him.
Double piece on the weekend.
Double piece on the weekend, and I reckon he's been playing the best footy of his life. He is a top 5 hooker in the league.
With a top 1 step in the league. You
Oh,
see
how
that
good
try
was
on
that?
the weekend?
All right, Flats, rattle off your top
double
5.
pace.
Quickly, go on.
Appy, Cook, Robson, Grant, Walters. Done.
So who do you leave out?
Crosland.
That's a good list. But he is at 5.
Okay, so if you put hypothetical, you put Billy Walters on the West Tigers, is he still a good player?
Hypothetical, you swap JMK with Billy Walters. Who goes better?
Walters.
Wow.
Who's he playing under?
Oh, yeah.
Righto.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else got a hot take to finish, or we'll wrap it up there?
Let me think.
I could give you Cormac Pearson's hot take
Okay,
from
give
today
Cormac
if you want.
Pearson's hot take.
He thinks Nathan Cleary is severely overrated and what he would call a system halfback. And he thinks that if you put any above average, so just take the league average halfback, I don't
So
know.
like a
who
Sean
you'd consider
O'Sullivan.
that. A little bit better than
Or,
that.
Madden.
And you put them in the Penrith setup for the last 2 years, they would be equally as successful.
That is a hot take.
Jack Cogger proved that.
I'll actually bounce off that hot take and give my own hot take. Next year, the Blues should pick Nathan Cleary to be their number 9.
You already said this.
Yeah, I have already said this, but I'm just really reinforcing
And
it.
who was 7? Moses.
It'll be Moses and Potty Walker all have Hines in the halves and have either Cook or Robson at 14.
And I'll bounce off that hot take and say New South Wales is going to get swept.
That's
Just
not
think
a hot
about
take, though.
Cleary's kicking out of dummy half. He's a very good defender. It just makes sense if you look at Ben Hunt's success as a hooker.
So you are copying it off the Queensland.
Yes, I am.
And on that
Thank
note, I think we'll leave it there.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Make sure you do your trades this week. when your head-to-heads, they're all happening now. So we'll see you next week as well.
Thanks.